Hello and welcome to Crazy Danish Hacker. Today we're going to look at extreme vulnerable web application. More specifically, we're going to look at server-side request forgery as was requested by Prithip, if that is the correct pronunciation of this name. So first we have to go to network, advanced network, and then settings and manual proxy configuration. And we also have to make sure that burp is running. So I've specified a maximum amount of memory of 3 GB and minimum 1 GB. You don't really need to do this if you have it installed, but I like to do it sometimes. And let's see. We also have a text editor for taking notes. So the first thing that we need to do is that we need to install this. So this is pretty straightforward to install. But before we do that, we have to make sure that Apache is running. So we say service Apache 2 status and press Q. In case it's not running, then you can just say start. And to clear the screen, you can press Ctrl L. So that's quite neat. So the directory where all the files are hosted are here. And I've already git cloned it. So we just run git clone, then press enter. And once you've done that, you can go into the directory. And if you want to make sure that you have the latest version in case you have an old version, you can run git pull. So now that we have done this, we can go to the local host, XVWA, and we need to go into Burp Suite and toggle off the proxy. Proxy, intercept off. And for SQL injection stuff, we need to install a database, but for server-side request forgery, we don't really need to. I recommend that you read this Google Docs file in case you're new to server-side request forgery. I've read through it and it's pretty good. So the next thing that we want to do is that we want to intercept a request. So we say intercept is on, and then we will say localhost test1.jpg and submit button. So then we will just right click and say send to repeater. And then we will just look at it, the page. So we will press F12 and click this button. Make sure inspector is set and then just click the image. So as you can see, the image is locally referenced. So that means that the website is downloading the image and then presenting it. So from an external perspective, that means that we might be able to do a cross-site port attack, for example. That means that we can use the HTTP or HTTPS, or maybe even the file handler to read local files. So, but using this specific vector is not really server-side request forgery. It's a local file disclosure, for example. But if you do, for example, this here, then that is a cross-port example where you enter an IP address. It could be anything, and then 8081 is a port, and then a request and a parameter and a value. So if we open Wireshark, we will be able to see that the server is actually making this request. So first we will just select the any filter or any interface, and then we will make a filter saying tcp.port is equal to 8081. Now as an attacker, you won't be able to see this Wireshark output, but it is useful for demonstrational and educational purposes. So when we click this button, then the server will send a TCP request, a send packet, to port 8081 to this IP address. And since this port is not open, the server responds back with a reset and acknowledge packet, saying that basically means the port is closed. And you could basically do this for any host. So you could say intranet and then port 25 maybe, or 8080, and then even make, as I specified before, a request, parameter, and a value. So this is useful for making a request to other internal resources that are behind a firewall, for example, or servers that are not exposed directly to the internet, but which you know, for example, are available. So in this specific case, it looks like there's no feedback, or it's not easy to demonstrate this specific attack with this specific example. But let's take a look at the code. So we go into vulnerabilities and SSRF, and then we take a look at the home.php file. And then we go down a bit, and this right here is the vulnerable code. So first it checks if the image URL is set via a post request. So this is a post request, and it's checking if this variable is set. Then it's trying to download the file into variable, and then then there's a local file name, you know, as we saw here, as we saw right here. And then it says save the contents, and then there's the file name, that's the location, and the contents of that file. And then echo the image URL, and let's see, and then image, and then reference the image where the file name is here. And it also says echo image as well. So it echoes this HTML, which is this part here. So in this case, it's downloading, you know, a file. So we could try and download another file from this host maybe and see if it saves it. But the problem is, you can see there is this images directory right here. And if we search for, you know, there's no images directory here. And at the base of the HTML, there is no images directory either. So that's you know, that means that even though this is just a proof of concept to test the vulnerability, it's not really saving the file. So this file doesn't exist. If we try to look for this file locally, it shouldn't be anywhere, because it was never really saved, because the directory doesn't exist. So we can also try and search for it here. And as you can see, it isn't found. So I'll just stop Wireshark, just minimize it. So we could try and make this directory ourselves, see if we can fix it. Now the only thing that I'm wondering about is, if we just take a look at the home file again, that is this directory, that means the current directory. So we could try and say make dir images, checkmod, let's see, because it's owned by root and writable or by root, and others is Rx, and Apache is running as www-data. So that means that if we want Apache to be able to write to this directory, we need to change the permissions of images. So we say chown, was checkmod is for changing the flags like so. Let me just demonstrate. That's for changing this. So, and this is changing owner. So that was just a spelling mistake. So let's just say watch ls images. See if it works. F5, resend. So it looks like now it's working. So let's just see what's in that file maybe. Now that we have fixed the program. So it's empty, of course. So let's try and make a file at test file 1, 2, 3. This is a secret file. Let's just see if we can read this file. So of course we can get it from here. Yeah. And let's just pretend that we shouldn't be able to get it. So let's just try and see what happens. Come image location. And that's normal. That's because the browser thinks it's an image even though it's not. So we will just look here instead, I guess. And I think it was 12, yeah. So we could just download, in case we are the attacker. Of course, as the attacker, we don't have access to the console here. But what we can do is that we can definitely request this image here. And then we could do it like this. And in burp, we have to deselect this flag here under proxy options, and then here play again. Send to repeater. You could also just enable intercept server responses and then also deselect this. But in our case, we will just look at the repeater. So that's quite neat. So in this case, now we have a visual response. So that means that if we try to access other web servers internally, that could be, you know, as I said before, intranet and then 8080, and then in just like this, for example, and we click submit, and there was a host named this, then the image right here would contain the HTML most likely. So we can also test this by going to create an HTML file, for example, or a directory called, we'll just call it intranet. And all this index. And we will just say HTML head title. Intranet page. Intranet secret, and of course it could be, you know, it could contain some dynamic code as well, but this will be fine. So I'll just make sure that it's yeah, so we have a title right here and we have the body of the page. So if we click submit, yeah, and we copy this image location, and we open burp, and we say, let's just intercept the responses, and this one here, then click intercept is on, and try again. So here we have the request, and it says not modified. So what we can do is that we can just send this to the repeater. Oh, now I pressed F5, of course. So let me just go back a bit. So you, in case you get that caching thing. So here we go. So for example, in case you get this caching header or caching response, you can just delete if non-match and if modified since, and that should work. So that's just a tip in case yeah, you get this 3 or 4 not modified. Just remove if modified and if non-match. And then you can get it. So that's basically server-side request forgery. So what you do is that you abuse a website's functionality to download a file or an image by specifying a URL. And then you can make it maybe request internal secret pages that are behind the firewall. And then you can access other internal resources maybe. So in case you do that for some of the big companies, then they usually pay a fair amount of money because you may be able to access load balancers, including the configuration of them. And in case you do go through this a lot, then you could maybe find out that there are some buttons on the page, and maybe you can figure out how to trigger them. Because if you have the HTML of a page, then you can figure out how to send requests. For example, for this page, we can search for form tags. And this is the form where we submit the server-side request forgery. So we can see that it's a post request. So that means that you may be able to do it in some cases with server-side request forgery. In case it's if it's a GET request, that means that you will probably have more luck. But let's just go through the rest. So in this case, you look for the div, or no, you don't look for div. You look for input tags, and then you look for the name. And the name img_url is basically the request or the parameter name that you will need to send. So if it's a GET request, it will be in the URL right here, for example. And if it's a post request, it will be here. So if we deleted this, it would basically be a GET request. And if we remove it again and go back, then it's a post request. So you don't send anything after here, and you just send everything here. So that's basically how you could also create or craft HTTP requests when you're doing server-side request forgery. So that's basically the basics of this topic. I hope you enjoyed. Stay tuned and subscribe.